Welcome, everybody, to the Sheridan Report of the Gruely Crew Sports Network. Sheridan Report is brought to you by MyBookie.ag. To get up to a 100% bonus on your first $300 deposit, go to thegruelingtruth.com, click on the MyBookie.ag at the top of the page, or you can go directly to the MyBookie.ag page and put in the promo code TGT100. I am your co-host for the Sheridan Report, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in from the Sheridan Report, Bobby Sheridan. How you doing, Bobby?
Mike, I'm doing great, and we've got baseball starting here in about 20 minutes. So let's get going.
Well, let's get it going. What do you got baseball-wise?
Baseball, Mike, we got one early game, and then we have the rest of the schedule this evening. And the early game coming up here in 20 minutes, I think, is worth looking at. The Cubs are going to open up a series with their rival, the Brewers, and it's home series, so it starts in day game here in about 18 minutes, 11:20 Pacific, and the Cubs, I think, are going to dominate this first game. They've got a really nice pitching matchup. Milwaukee picked up veteran Gio Gonzalez to be their fifth starter, and he's done fairly well in his two or three starts. But the Cubs' Jose Quintana kind of emerging as an ace, and I really like how he's throwing the ball. I like the left-handed arm against Milwaukee and a couple of their left-handed bats. I think he may be able to neutralize them, and the Cubs are going to want to start this series out on a good note. So we've got the Cubs now. They're a small favorite, minus 119 I've got now on my book. So we've got them in our part of our mix and match three-team parlay, which we've been hitting 2 out of 3 consistently, and we did again yesterday. And darn it, if the Braves couldn't have held on to a 2-1 lead with 2 outs in the ninth. So that was a tough one to swallow last night, but we did hit 2 out of 3 of those. And so the other two to go along with the Cubs would be the Rockies at 5:40 and the Phillies at 5:15. Those are Pacific time starts. And those are the Phillies have Jake Arrieta going tonight, and they add a hitter, they add a DH to their lineup, which will make them even stronger. So I really like them tonight over the Royals. And then the other mix and match would be the Rockies. You know what, German Marquez is developing into a frontline pitcher for the Rockies. And their starting rotation is, it seems to me like it should be settling in. The Rockies, I still believe, are going to be a team to be heard from in this division, and Marquez is at the top of it. And I think San Diego hitting the road tonight in their first game in that series, I think really favors Colorado. So I like Marquez. So there's your 3 mix and match. Now let's go to the 3 straight plays. This is what people are going to want to hear. We've got 3 dogs tonight. Pretty significant dogs too, Mike. Nothing small here. So these are 3 pretty solid takes by me. And let's just go in order of how I see them here on the rotation. Back to the top play. Okay, Pittsburgh got blown out yesterday as a top play. I like the pitching matchup. I like how the bullpen is set up. We've got the same scenario here today. Difference is we've got to have Trevor Williams plus $1.42 not have a hiccup. And that was yesterday, Musgrove. He threw in a really bad outing and gave them no chance to win. So we've got Trevor Williams tonight. I think he'll get the job done against an aging Adam Wainwright, who is no longer a top 1 or 2 pitcher, in my opinion. So I like the Pirates tonight over the Cardinals at plus 142. That's a great number. This is a series I fully expected Pittsburgh to be very competitive in, Mike. So this is a game they should get tonight at plus 142. Then we got 2 more dogs to look at. We got a pitching duel that'll have to go on tonight. I think this is probably be an over-under. How often do you see an over-under of 7 in the American League?
Actually, we have a question from a listener, too, about that.
Sure.
Candace, actually, from Miami, ask about that. She asked about there's like 4 games on here with an over-under of 7, and she wanted to know if there's any of them that you would be inclined to bet on.
Hey, great question, Candace. That's a really good question. And, when you see a total like that on the MLB, you really got to take note, because that is an indication of starting pitching and the bullpen and the way the game is lined up does not figure to be any scoring at all. You can't take a look at that and just say, okay, I'm going to take the over. For these games that are listed at 7 to go over, something kind of weird is going to happen. You're going to have a really bad start, unexpected bad start from a pitcher who's throwing great, or you're going to have extra innings, or you're going to have something really weird happen, a 3-run shot in the 9th to win it, something like that. There may not be a lot of value in taking under 7 either, because these are, you just can't, there can't be any hiccups is what I'm saying. And so that's why a lot of people like to bet the overs and the totals. But those lines that have a 7, probably more likely than not go under. They probably have a better percentage of going under, although you got to be able to hold on and avoid any problems. There can't be any mistakes. It's got to go just as is. And this is a game I think will. What an interesting question at the same time that I brought this up. This Rays-Yankees game figures to be an under. You got 2 starting pitchers that are dominating, and you have 2 bullpens that are very, very good. So you just have pitching tonight. And in today's baseball, where strikeouts are so high, and if you have pitchers that will just take away the long ball, it's almost impossible to score. And there'll be more than 20 strikeouts in this game tonight you watch. And when you strike out, you're not moving runners over. It's conducive to a low-scoring 2-1 ball game. So that's what you've got working tonight in this Yankees-Rays game. And I think the Yankees at plus $1.50, that's a great price on them. So I'm going to take a shot with the Yankees. That's one of my best plays tonight. And if you're going to parlay that sucker to the under.
All
so
right.
Good question, Candace. And I'm going to look real quick at the other totals that are 7, and I got one more game to mention, Mike. The other totals that are 7 would be
you get the
Reds and the Giants.
Yeah, the Reds, Giants, Brewers, Cubs, and hold on, there's another one here somewhere. Marlins, Mets.
Okay, Reds, Giants, real quickly. Luis Castillo, he's been stingy, very, very stingy. The fear there would be Rodriguez has not thrown to his capability the last couple games. That game could be an over. The Giants are hitting with 2 out. With runners in scoring position, the Giants are the best hitting baseball team in the last 10 days. And they proved that again yesterday with 2 out hitting and runners in scoring position. So, and Bruce Bochy, I even tweeted it. If you go on my Twitter, you can see Bruce Bochy is talking about their offense really picking up. So, that's a game that I could see going over. That one there, that's a total of 7. I laid off that game as far as picking a side. And then we'll go to the next one that has a 7. That's Miami and the Mets. You have 2 strikeout pitchers working there, Pablo Lopez and Zach Wheeler. And that game is going to be definitely lean to the under there more than likely. I would stay off this game. Miami doesn't score a lot of runs. The Mets have some power. That would scare me if I bet the unders. I would probably stay off that game. That looks like a high strikeout game as well. And then the Brewers and Cubs is 7.5. And I would look to the over there. But the thing to worry about is that when you have a low number at Wrigley Field, it could be the wind could be playing a big factor, not allowing the long ball today if it's wind's blowing directly in. So I would look at the over there because I think Gonzalez, he struggles with command, and there might be a lot of base runners in that game for the Cubs. So that's my feeling on those games. Anyhow, and last straight play, Mike, that I do want to mention before I get off, and it's a sneaky play. It's going to fool some people. I like the Orioles today. The Orioles are plus 167 at home over the Angels. The Angels are throwing Trevor Cahill, and he has really struggled. Trevor Cahill and Dan Straley, if you combine their last 8-9 games, like combined, maybe 4 for Cahill and 5 for Straley or vice versa, these 2 pitchers have only gotten through 5 innings 2 times. So you're looking at now the complete opposite of what we just talked about. We're looking at starting pitching that's struggling. We're looking at bullpens are always questionable for most of these teams. So you're looking at probably an over here, and that's why the line's at 11. So I like Baltimore in this game because I think their bullpen at home and their bullpen could outpitch the Angels bullpen, and they've had a day off. The Orioles just came off a series with the Red Sox, very competitive, lower scoring series, where they lost 2 of 3. but played in that type of a series, where the Angels come off of blowout type series against the Tigers, and they don't have the day off. So what do you like better? You like the run scored, the blowout type series, no day off, or do you like the lower scoring, well pitched, well played series with the day off? I like Baltimore because that's the profile they fit. So plus 167, great number. There's your baseball, Mike.
All right, we got a basketball game to talk about tonight, Bobby.
We sure do, Mike, and you know, I've been really happy with the basketball. It's kind of been carrying us throughout all these playoffs. We've hit most all of these games, and I'm really, really happy about that. And had baseball just been clicking along, it would be unbelievable numbers right now for TSR. But we've thrown in some clunkers with baseball. It's just been very difficult to be consistent, and I'm looking for that consistency there. But thank goodness the basketball's been there. We had 2 more winners last night, and we, by all rights, we should have another winner tonight. To me, fairly easily. The Rockets are a top play for me. You can make the line. Some people think it should be 5. The line is 7, currently sitting 7.5. You can make it 10. I think the Rockets are going to blow them out tonight, and the reason is because, you know, I talked about this a little bit off the air. The immediate reaction that the Rockets had to winning that game the other night was understandable. They had Curry and Thompson hit some shots for them, and you had some guys really step up on defense and play hard and grind that win out for home fans. And you had Houston give a very perplexing reaction to what happened, almost like they backed off a bit. And then some of the post-game comments were peculiar also. So that was a situation where that just kind of happened. Now, when you take a day or 2 days now to digest this and know that you're playing at home in a must-win in an elimination game, that all goes out the window. And you've got a chance to prepare now. Okay, we're playing them without this guy, Durant, this player in the series. And this is what they'll do to replace that. They'll play him, well, maybe they'll put in another guard, and they'll play with us with 3 guards, or maybe they'll try to go big with us, and they'll play with, you know, here's their options, and this is what we're going to do against those things. This is what we got to do, and this is where we have to win. And the Rockets will get that done. Because for anybody to think they're not going home, going back to Golden State for the primetime NBA game on Sunday mid-afternoon, you're crazy. So to bet a game where you think, well, I think the Orioles will play within the number. Anytime you bet an underdog and you're trying to just play within the number and you don't really think that team has a chance to win the game straight up, you're making a bad bet. So the Rockets tonight is just a question of, will they put together enough and open up enough space to where maybe a 3-point barrage by those guys late in the 4th or mid-4th or something will bring them within the number. Just open up 15 tonight, 19, 22, cruise on in. You've seen a couple of those the last couple of nights. You saw Milwaukee do it. You saw the Toronto do it to Philly. You're going to see Houston do it tonight to Golden State.
All right.
And would there be any, you know, what do you got, Mike? You got rebuttal?
I've got this. I'm going to bet and give the points in the first half. The points in the first half are 4.5. And I think what happens here is Houston will make an adjustment. Golden State will have to adjust back if they can. I think they come out, they play with energy in the first half. They've made the adjustment. I think that I expect a 10 to 15-point lead at least at halftime. I think Golden State will adjust, come back with some stuff. And my only fear here is if the game stays within 10, Steph Curry gets hot, you may not get the number. So I think I'm just going to shoot my load on the number in the first half.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I like that. I mean, that's not a bad strategy there, but it might be one of those things where the Warriors, they have to look at also Game 7 and on what they're going to do to readjust back to be able to beat Houston.
That's kind of my point. I like 4 points in the first half better than 7 points for the whole game.
Right. So you're looking at taking Houston or Golden State in the first half?
No, I'm taking Houston and giving the 4 points in the first half.
Right. Give the 4 points, right.
Because I think they come out with a lot of energy, something to prove at the start of this game tonight, and I think they're going to jump up big quick.
I hope so, Mike. And if they were able to do that and open up that lead, it's going to really be tough for the Warriors to come back within that number. I think it might be one of those games because I look at halftime lines a lot. Houston might win the first half and the second half.
Yeah, I think they might too. And I think if they come out and they are up by 5 at the end of the first half and I've won, what's the line going to be for the second half? I may go ahead and bet them to take the second half too. And then I can double what I was going to make anyway.
You're right. That's not a bad strategy at all.
Nah. So, you didn't say it was good, though. So,
well, it's okay. No, it's okay because that's the way the game could go tonight. I mean, I'm expecting Houston a double-digit win. And if it's if the Warriors have the lead at half, I haven't lost any money, and I could still win this game by 10.
Yeah,
that would be my rebuttal to your strategy.
Well, I just think I can win. I think I can win twice, Bobby. How about that?
Well, sometimes when I do that, what I'll do is I'll take the team I really like, which is Houston. I'll also take the first half. So let's say 4.5 the first half, 7.5 the game. Bet them both.
Yeah,
they win by 12 the first half. You've got the first half in the bank already.
Yeah. That may be what I do, too. I was just sitting here thinking as I went. I haven't really done anything yet, but I'm going to.
What you can do is you can come back in that scenario and take the Warriors for the second half, and you can hit all three.
Yeah.
I've done that quite a few times, and that sometimes will work. And so anyhow, there you go, Mike, and I'm looking forward to our talk tomorrow on our show.
Oh, yeah, tomorrow we got 3-7. Yeah, we got some stuff happening tomorrow.
Talk about Sundays. Yeah, Sunday's 3 Game 7s, and then we've got the NHL starting a new series. We got baseball tomorrow. So pretty much what I'm asking is, do we have a show tomorrow?
Yeah, we got a show tomorrow. So what is our On This Day today?
On This Day is interesting one. I had a baseball card of this guy and never saw him pitch. But my dad would tell me, keep that one. He was a great pitcher. So tell me about this guy, 1970. On this day, Atlanta Braves Hoyt Wilhelm pitches in his 1,000th game.
There's a few things that stand out to Hoyt Wilhelm to me. He was really the first ace relief pitcher. The teams that he played for used him in a way that actually has become a trend and has become kind of ridiculous nowadays. But rather than bringing in a relief pitcher only when the starting pitcher began to struggle, teams increasingly called upon the relief pitchers towards the end of any close game. Wilhelm was the first relief pitcher elected to Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame. He didn't start his career until he was 29. He fought in a war. He taught himself when he was younger, because he didn't have the greatest arm strength, taught himself to throw a knuckleball. I think, from what I read, it was because of Dutch Leonard, who was one of his heroes growing up. He was basically, seemingly he was an old man all the way through this. And another great knuckleballer was Charlie Huff, who in 1971, Wilhelm taught Charlie Huff how to throw the knuckleball. And then later, Huff taught it to R.A. Dickey while coaching with the Texas Rangers. Wilhelm also, I think his first year with that knuckleball, when he came to the major leagues, there was a lot of guys that questioned whether he could be a starting pitcher before or with it. And when he got to the New York Giants early in his major career, Giants manager Leo DeRocher didn't think the knuckleball approach would be effective for more than a few innings. So he basically assigned Wilhelm to the team's bullpen. He stayed there his rookie season, really for most of his career after that. He was used exclusively in relief at the old Polo Grounds. He had an ERA of 2.43, was 15-3 that year, and actually finished in the top 10 for the MVP award voting. And he was the first relief pitcher to ever finish that high. He finished second Rookie of the Year. And, of course, 1954, was it 54 he was with the Giants? Yeah, because 54 they won the World Series. That was the Willie Mays catch with his back to the plate going to center field.
Right.
So he won that. He threw a no-hitter in his career. He was an 8-time All-Star. Twice he led the ERA led the National League in ERA. He was one of the great pitchers of all time, and he was a man before his time, because basically what he could do led to what we've got today with relief pitchers. And I'm pretty sure his career ERA was like 2.52 for his career, which may be the lowest career ERA of anybody in baseball history.
And he was a left-hander, right, Mike?
No, I thought he was a righty. Was he a righty or a lefty? I think he was a righty. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was a righty.
Was he right? Okay, yeah. I don't know
the interesting thing about him is this. His first major league at bat, he hit a home run. And then he had like 400 and some plate appearances after that and never hit another one.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. First at bat hits a home run.
Yeah, that's not bad. And then he never hit another one. But at least he hit one. Yeah.
There's another guy, the Dodgers have a good story here. The Dodgers, Jose Offerman. Do you remember that name?
Yeah, I remember Jose Offerman.
Yeah, he played in the major leagues a long time and never reached the stardom that he was supposed to reach, but he had a home run in his first major league at bat, left-handed at Dodger Stadium. And my high school baseball coach, he collected baseball cards around that time, and I got home from playing minor league baseball in the summer of 1987, and I told him, I said, his name was Mike. I said, his name was also Mike. I said, Mike, you got to get as many of these cards as you can of King Griffey Jr. because this guy's a man among boys on the field. I mean, he's 17 years old, and he's going to be in the big leagues in a year, and they're saying he's going to be the next great player, Willie Mays. And so he goes out and gets a bunch of those upper deck card number 1, King Griffey's, and makes a killing. So I go back and I play in 1989 in the summer. I had surgery, and I went back, and I came back, and I was rehabbing in the California League, which was high A ball. And Jose Offerman was in his second year of pro ball. He was a young kid playing shortstop. And the way he handled the bat and the way he played and everything else, and all my reports were this is going to be the next Dodger shortstop. He's going to be, rookie of the year that, they were famous for the rookie of the year in the 80s. This was 89. So I went back and told him. So he had an opportunity to invest his money in Jose Offerman or Juan Gonzalez. And he took my advice, which was Jose Offerman. He hit a home run in his first at bat, but he turned out to be just a solid.
I think he did make 2 All-Star teams in the 90s.
Well, yeah, he was a solid, steady guy, but his baseball card's worth a buck.
And the interesting thing, we turned this into the knuckleball thing. I thought that's where you were going with this, but he was the first major league at-bat against the Florida Marlins, and he struck out, and you know who he faced?
Charlie Huff.
Charlie Huff.
I wish I'd have gone there, but isn't that crazy how I brought that name up?
Yeah,
that's
because Offerman was supposed to be the next guy. Because I think he was from San Pedro de Margary, which is where back in the '80s it seemed like every second baseman and shortstop in Major League Baseball came from.
Right, and he was a good player, but he turned out just to be a pretty good player. But he wasn't Juan Gonzalez. Juan Gonzalez's baseball cards took off in the early 90s and were worth a bunch of money, so he never let me down on that. Never let me, he kept reminding me of that one, how I was wrong. But,
hey, Offerman also, I looked him up real quick, and he got charged with an on-field assault when he punched an umpire during a Dominican Republic Winter League game in 2010.
I do remember that, Mike. Yeah, he did that, and another little tidbit is tied into Charlie Huff. Is Charlie Huff later, he goes on and he coached for a long time, and he coached at the very, very end in the same league that Gary Carter coached in, which is called the what was the league? It was an independent league here in Northern California. I can't remember the name of the league, but Gary Carter, before he passed away, also managed. But this Charlie Huff was the guy who coached Chris Jacobauskas, which is the name that I gave you. I coached him, and he pitched 3 years in the big leagues. And Chris Jacobauskas told me that he credits Charlie Huff for really helping him get to the big leagues. And just as a great coach, a great person.
So he coached the Inland Empire 66ers in the California League.
Yeah, very good. And then here's another tie-in.
Not really. I just looked it up. It's not like I read it off the top of my head. But go ahead.
Well, here's another tie-in. your guys' Survive in Advance show that you just had, really one of his top 10 clutch moments was Reggie Jackson, and he said 3 pitches and 3 home runs. Well, one of those was Charlie Huff, correct?
I know.
Knuckleball?
Yeah, the knuckleballer.
Yeah. So there's a lot of tie-ins today with with our names what we've brought up, and it all started from Hoyt Wilhelm.
Yep. Everything started from Hoyt Wilhelm. Everything. Michael Jordan, the assist, was from Hoyt Wilhelm. Let's see. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We will be back with a special Survive in Advance in like 15, 20 minutes on thegruelingtruth.com. Bobby will join us, Steve, Sam McGinnis to talk a little NHL. So we'll just do a rundown on last night's happenings and what's going to happen this weekend coming up. It'll just be a short show. Make sure you check us out there. Make sure you check out the handicapping guide. Phil Rankin does a great job there. You can go halfway down on the gruelingtruth.com page to the right and find where you can click on there to go check out the handicapping guide if you're interested in betting on horses. Make sure to Sheridan Report at SheridanReport.com, $10 a day or $50 a month, plus $5 for your best play of the day. Correct, Bobby?
That's correct, Mike.
All right.
Up there right now.
And you can follow Bobby at Sheridan Report. Guys, we're going to wrap it up. I want to remind you can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, Zeno Radio. Wherever you find sports podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So for Bobby Sheridan, I'm Mike Goodpastor. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.